Got it.
All right. So as usual, I'm waiting for the A-OK that we're live. It looks like we're connecting, but 9 times out of 10, I'm talking and we're already live when I'm talking. So um all
Raining
right.
here. I actually did get hair. My hair got rained on. Sorry, go ahead.
All right. So I think, yes, we are live. So thank you everybody for your patience and for hanging in there with us. So Amalia, Natalio with Karmic Kindness, and Madelaine Parker here with you today to share the forecast for this upcoming Pisces new moon that is occurring on Sunday, March 10th, 2024 at 5 a.m. Eastern, and this is at 20 degrees, 16 minutes. Madelaine's going to share, I'm sure, all sorts of details about this, but to start off, I want to share a few things that I noticed out of the gate. And when Madelaine shares the chart, you'll be able to see this firsthand. But what was so striking to me is literally all the planets and even a couple of the significant points like the North Node and Chiron are all hanging out in 4 signs. So we have 3 planets in Aquarius, 4 planets in Pisces, 1 planet and 2 points in Aries, and 2 planets, yes, in Taurus. And that seems very remarkable to me in just the concentrated energy in that section of the chart and how it all flows into each other. So it's really striking to me for those of you who may feel energy or are tuned into energy or have a sense of the cosmos and the planets and where they are and what's going on. It feels to me like a significant movement of storyline. Before Madelaine and I went live, Madelaine was saying, it felt like a chapter was ending for her. I was expressing I feel some completion energy around different parts of my life. And so the storyline, the energy is moving. That's what it feels like to me. We've got this energy that's moving. So, you know, in the chat, I had asked folks to drop your sun, moon, and rising sign in there and to share what might be coming up for you. What areas of your life feel like they might be completed? What areas of your life are you focused on right now? What might feel you know, what might feel like you're ready to let it go or to say, okay, I'm done with this as we close out this astrological new year. So that was one thing I thought was interesting. The other thing I also noticed I was thinking about too, when we are talking about Pisces, the sign of Pisces, and the physical body connections, because there's a number of my clients that are having physical issues in their body. And Pisces is connected to the feet and the toes, but it's also connected to the pineal, the pituitary. So there's a spiritual connection, there's a hormonal connection, the brain, and then there's also that groundedness of your feet on the earth. And so what struck me about this is that we're almost being guided in this Pisces new moon energy to connect our spiritual self and our earthly self and in a whole new way. So whatever we might be completing or whatever we might need to let go of, it might be a physical letting go, it might be a spiritual letting go, it might be a combination of the two in order for us to walk through the portal of this new astrological year when we have the Aries full moon and to be able to guide us in a different way. Hormones control our the chemical balances in our body and how we experience and feel about life. And so if we think about Pisces in this way, where can we bring more balance into our life between the physical and the spiritual? Where can we recognize where we might be getting activated by a chemical reaction that we're having to something that might require maybe a little bit of balance in our physical world? It really jumped out at me that there was a really interesting dynamic happening right now. And then there were 3 aspects to the moon that I thought were quite interesting. And again, I know Madelaine will be talking about this more, but just these few little key pieces that I thought were so interesting. The moon conjunct Neptune, meaning the moon and Neptune are very close. They're hanging out together, as is the sun, because we got to remember the sun and the moon they're conjunct, they're together in the sky during a new moon. I'm focused mostly on the moon aspects for this cycle, because I don't know, it felt really important to highlight, because we are talking about moon cycles. So the moon conjunct Neptune has to do with this emotional motivation to search for something spiritual, particularly when it's in Pisces. So that was kind of the read that I had on that. The moon sextile Uranus is this yearning for emotional independence and maybe freedom from a family environment. So there could be, Madelaine just left her dad's home. And I'm sure, it's like she said, there was some emotion around that, but there might also be a liberation from letting go of some old family dynamics or patterns. I don't know if that's true, just,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a huge chapter ending. Like, my mother passed away, so there's like, I feel like cry. It's not that my mother passing away, which is, you cry about all that, but that was a while ago. But then it's just like you realize it's a whole chapter of your life just completely ending, like closing down all this furniture and just changing things. So it's like a big chapter ending. Your
yeah, and
home you
that
grew up with is gone. You go through these layers in your life where then that whole chapter, all the people, that house you had growing up, all the stuff in it, everything is all gone. It's like, anyway.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
and I mean, that also relates to the last aspect I wanted to mention too, is about the moon conjunct Saturn, and it encourages honesty around our emotions. It encourages us to express them. Some people may not be able to express them well. They may have trouble getting them out, articulating them. But, Madelaine, you were able to, this energy is encouraging us to be able to express those emotions and to share what's on our heart. And, that could also be a salve for somebody else, where they feel like they're not the only ones going through challenges and tough times. So, just out of the gate, this Pisces new moon feels like there could be some emotions that get activated for us to complete and to finish up some aspects of our life, some chapters of our life, and complete them, and then prepare for that fiery Aries new moon in a month or so. I mean, obviously we still have a full moon to go through, but we're starting this final push before a new astrological year. So that is what I see in the stars.
All right. Nice. Thanks, Amalia. That was great.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yes, we are about to go into Aries season, and all these planets are in a cluster. So it is very interesting, isn't it? And then they're all sort of, if anyone born now is going to have a big Pisces stellium in their chart. Or if they were born before the new moon, right before the new moon, they'd have with Mercury in there, there'd be a stellium. So anyway, so it's very focused energies when you have this many planets all clustered together. So you're really, one side of your chart is going to have a lot of energy in it. It's going to have a lot of, is going to be lit up with lots of stars and planets. So that's where the focus is going to be. So wherever you have Pisces in your chart right now is a lot of focus. And with this new moon, some sort of new beginning that's occurring with this new moon that is connected with a level of progress consciously, because this is a Jupiter new moon. So there's going to be a new belief involved, higher consciousness, because as you were saying, we're ending all these chapters. We've got the South Node eclipse coming up this month in the sign of Libra. So we really are ending big. That's why I'm feeling what I'm feeling more is probably because of that South Node Libra eclipse in my 4th house. So I'm letting go a whole family, a section of family, or something that has been my family that is now being released, and so now, so everybody's going to be experiencing some sort of big release in their Libra house, and Saturn being in the 12th sign of Pisces is wrapping up an energy as well, because Saturn is in Pisces. So Saturn is also completing a cycle and then it's going to go into the Aries energy. So we're all of us letting go of major big chapters. It is hard because you're grieving it. You're letting, when you really let go of these things, and new moons always come with letting go. So that's my experience. So you're grieving something, you're letting something go. And if you've really let it go and you're really grieving, you're going to grieve if you've really let it go, is what I'm saying. So there's grief around a lot of that, oftentimes. So, but then you move through it pretty quick because the new beginnings are happening. So you have to let go and create the space, as you were talking about, in order for the new beginnings to come in. And that's the energy of Pisces. So a new moon Pisces is going to be that even louder. All new moons are like that. All new moons, we're going to have to release something for a new beginning. But when it's in Pisces, which is the big release, the big release energy or the big release sign, because the next sign is Aries. So the Pisces energy is like, you're repenting, you're seeking resolve, you're daydreaming, and plus the Sun and Saturn are cazimi right now. And so it's kind of like there's this very sort of introverted, introspective energy. It's very yin energy before we get into the yang energy, right? And just so you know, we have Neptune and Mercury conjoining right now. So everybody's going to be having in the sign of Pisces, and Mercury in the sign of Pisces is detrimental. So just so everyone knows, communication is going to be hard. It's going to be hard to focus because we're in these watery yin energies where we're receiving downloads, we're getting ideas, and also we're ending chapters, so we're grieving. There's emotional. It's very emotional when we have a lot of planets in water. So anyway, so this new moon is going to be a new beginning in an area in our lives where we have made spiritual progress. And I think you mentioned that a little bit. You were talking a little bit about that. So these Pisces energies, this new moon is a new beginning that we're taking on now because we have grown, because we've taken, because it's at the end of the cycle. So we've taken a whole cycle here, and we've now learned a lot of lessons in this area of growth that we're going to experience, whatever house that's in. There's going to be a cycle there. So you're going to experience a resolution, but always that comes with some sort of regret, some sort of wishing you had done something more, some wishing maybe didn't make that choice and do that or go there or whatever. So these energies are reflective about that because you're learning your lessons, and that's kind of a karma clearing thing. Pisces, is very much about karma clearing, forgiving yourself, forgiving others, clearing that energy so that you can take another round around the zodiac wheel, starting with Aries with cleared karma. So this new moon is a new initiation in an area of everyone's life or somewhere in everyone's chart where they have not been previously, I want to say, spiritually evolved enough to do. And Saturn is in the picture, so it's very serious. It's very committed. I would say a long-term, but it is ruled by Jupiter. So, and Jupiter is in the sign of Taurus, and Jupiter is sextiling this, like you mentioned. So Jupiter is sextiling this new moon. So when Jupiter sextiles things, and then we also have a Mars squaring. So something's going to get blocked. Something's going to get ended. Relationships could end suddenly. We will go through all the 12 houses, but something suddenly ending, decisions suddenly being made with that Mars square, because we have that Mars squaring Uranus, sudden decisions to be liberated, or blocks. Something can happen, a crisis, so causes you to then have to go through the open door, the sextile, and the trine. So you might be, that's how these eclipses, I'm not to jump onto the eclipses, but that's very much in the energy field. But this new moon course corrects you by an open door becomes the thing that is your new beginning, because that door is open.
Well, I love that you brought up the eclipses because that's such a huge part of this story too. With the upcoming full moon and the subsequent new moon being eclipses, and that the energy of eclipse season can feel very dramatic and
Yeah.
and it really does push us to make changes. And I agree with you too with the energy of Saturn being part of this. It does feel like, it's giving structure to what would otherwise be this very yin amorphous, watery sort of, without the banks of the shore to rein in the water, it just kind of goes everywhere. And so Saturn actually feels very supportive in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true. Actually, that's an interesting point. But Saturn is combust, and Saturn's going to come out of combustion, I think, at that eclipse at 25 degrees, 25, March 25th. I think it comes out of
Yeah.
combustion.
Okay.
So, so it's reborn. Saturn, when it comes out of combustion, or Cazimi, I don't know which one it is because one is in front of the other, but it's reborn. It's coming up as a morning star, and it's reborn. And when Saturn is reborn, there's a fresh start. We're going to feel this. It's going to come out of combustion. It's going to come into a morning star. And that's this fresh feeling of new beginnings coming in that we're looking at. That's this new moon is about that. It's about these new beginnings. Now, remember this, the other interesting thing is it's happening at the same degree of the April 8th Aries eclipse. And the reason that's significant is because, well, Mars, I take that back actually. Well, actually, yes, I'm sorry. It's significant because of the Uranian and Jupiter are going to conjoin at that degree in April 20th. So this is very much whatever happens during this new moon is very connected to what's going to happen April, the big change, the big radical shift and change that's going to happen when Jupiter and Uranus meet. So it's happening at 21 degrees and this new moon is at 20 degrees. So there's a big connection here. Something opens up and eases. There's some sort of, like, you take the right, you're coming to a crossroad, and there's an easy road and there's a hard road, and you just go down the easy road and it lands you right into a big shift and change in your life that you're supposed to take. But the road that's open, a door that's open, and it leads you right to a part of manifesting this big change that's going to occur. So, and also we have Mars squaring Uranus and Jupiter right at that same degree at 20 degrees during this new moon. So it's all connected to this eclipse. These three major transits. We have Mars squaring Uranus at 20 degrees. We have the new moon at 20 degrees, and we have the eclipse at 20 degrees Aries, and we have the Uranus-Jupiter conjunction at 20 degrees. So the point of that, why is that significant? Because whatever you have in your chart that's 20 degrees or within 5-degree orbs of either side is getting really walloped by all of these big shifts. So you're going to start seeing that now, like with this Mars this weekend, with the Mars and Uranus square, you're going to see something that is very, very connected to these eclipses, to the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Is all the story is starting.
Yeah, I was just looking at, I was just looking at that too. It's
For your chart.
It's no, just the just the degrees and how there's that overlap.
Yeah. So this new moon is a very significant new beginning. It's because it indicates the new chapter that it's big new chapter beginning. And it's on a very positive constellation. I was reading about it on a fixed stars. I was reading about the fixed stars that it's on, and it is quite an abundant fixed star. It is the nature of Jupiter. It's gaining victory over enemies. Its ability to command its ability to command is a grandly liberal person, can gain martial honors, gain kingly preferment, has the ability to gain great authority.
What is the name of the fixed star, Madelaine?
It's the name of the fixed star is Fum al Samaka. Did I say that?
Okay.
Yeah. So I was just kind of reading about it, but it seems really intense now when I read back on it. But it says that it is at the end. I'll just jump to the back because I'm studying all these right now. It's a high honors and wealth renown. So it is a a nice positive new moon on a very positive star ruled by Jupiter. It's an energy of Jupiter. And Pisces, the fish energy is very spiritual. There's a flow with all these planets in Pisces. We're all kind of just sort of flowing, flip-flopping around, relaxing, kind of flow energy. And because we're supposed to be in yin, and the reason we're supposed to be in yin is so that we go introspective, we become more internally connected. So we are guided for the new beginnings. We're connected when it starts the Aries season. We get onto the right path. That sextile that's going to show up here is going to help us, guide us. That trine, something we're going to let go of when that Mars hits that square to Uranus. There's going to be a big release of something in everybody's lives in that Libra house. So we're moving around. These things are happening. Lives are changing. Relationships are ending. New relationships beginning with that eclipse coming up in Libra. But this new moon in Pisces it has no aspect to the nodes, but it is associated with the eclipses because of those degree points. So there's going to be some kind of a new beginning that somehow aligns the eclipses up, that connects to the eclipse change, the shift that comes in the eclipse. There's a door opening with that sextile and that trine that makes it really easy to let something go. Let's say you've been in a toxic relationship that's been codependent, and now with this new moon, you decide to move out or go be single or something. Well, it's going to be really easy to do that. There's that trine from Mars to that trine to that south node in Libra. You're going to be able to just drop it. You're not even going to look back. It's like let the door hit you on the way out kind of energy. You're just, these are very liberating energies because it's squaring Uranus. So this new moon, people are going to be releasing things that have just been really a problem, that have been attachments, that are probably karmic Pisces, that we've just been holding on to, or just having a hard time releasing completely. Well, the soul is now mature enough to really release this. There's some sort of spiritual evolution where there's more faith in the universe, able to release a karmic attachment, which is always fear-based attachment to something. And so there's some sort of spiritual growth where you can let it go. You're totally capable of that Mars trying to let you just release. So
one thing I wanted to mention too, also in terms of relationships that's coming through for folks, is that it could be a relationship, a romantic relationship, or a committed marital relationship, but it could also be a partnership in terms of a business partnership. It could even be a friendship. You might even be in business with a friend, and there could be some karmic agreement that's coming to a close, and maybe a karmic attachment that needs to be released. But I'm hearing very clearly, it's not just a romantic partner. It could also be business or friendship that could be shifting too.
Also, if it's a romantic partner, it may not be completely letting it go. It may be that you stop trying to control the relationship and now it becomes healthy. You're letting go of, we're releasing karmic patterns that are based in unspiritual development.
So basically for people that are just coasting, through their relationship, they're not really paying attention to the bigger picture of things. It's a lot of finger pointing, their fault kind of a thing. It's more taking responsibility for yourself, your role in it, and finding a way to come to a place of peace within the relationship without falling back into the same traps and patterns of the past.
Yes. And this is the Saturn there, we're maturing. Wherever Saturn is transiting your chart right now, you're growing up. You're making a big maturation. If you were a teenager and it was in your first house, you would have a big shoot up in growth. So it's like you're growing up. So this new moon is enabling you now. You've grown up some way. You've become more mature in this area. You're wiser. You've let go of resentments. You've taken responsibilities for the things that didn't work out. You're not blaming people. New moon. And so now you're matured. So now you can make these new beginnings from a matured perspective, from a mature position. And there's a consciousness. Now, spirituality to me just means evolved consciousness, which is more in the light, more trust, more faith, and less fear, you know. So we're evolving. So that's exactly what karma is. It's like the karma plays out, and then you've experienced that, the hell of it playing out, and you don't like it. So you have to sort of step out of it, and it takes faith to step out of it, but then you discover quite quickly that you never needed it. And faith was, you know, you were okay. You didn't need that. So that's kind of what this new moon is. And then you discover that you're on a really good firm plateau to start a new beginning somehow.
Well, so why don't we take a look at Aries and see how it's
Yeah,
going to play out from the start for
all
everyone.
right. So you want me to stop the share for that. So I will do that. So let me go to put Aries onto the first house here, onto Aries on the ascendant. So Aries, we know that Aries is going to have a big, interesting couple months, you know, a lot going on for Aries. So, and this new moon is hitting in their 12th house. So talk about a karmic, wow, you know, that's a double karmic. So they're going to be feeling it really strong. Don't forget they've got the South Node in Libra in their 7th house. So they are releasing karmic contracts big time. And I actually really feel this energy a lot in, for instance, people that I know that I read for that are in relationships and stuff. That there's a sudden release of the karmic energy, sudden loss of that feeling of threatened by a karmic energy, or it's interesting. So we really are releasing fear-based attachments to relationships as a Libra energy. It's that Libra South Node, right? So for Aries, they're really releasing, but they're also letting go of some sort of karmic, big time karmic pattern. They're probably feeling a lot of shame, a lot of remorse. I mean, you know, to have so many planets in your 12th house, you know, you're in Pisces, talk about being reflective. They might be sort of disappeared somewhere, hiding because if, you know, near water or in the country, Aries, having a real deep reflective time because they're about to start a big new cycle in their lives. So there's something they want to correct and make right. And that's what this new moon is going to be. There's going to be some sort of new beginning involving a more matured version and what they've learned from all these karmic patterns that they've been doing. They don't want it anymore. I mean, that this is the energy of maturation, growth around. So that's Aries. We ready? Oh, your card.
Yeah. So I'm doing I was taking some notes about some things because this card was so interesting. So I'm using the Flower Evolution LOTUSWEI deck with some information for everybody with a flower and a plant or an herb, depending on what it is, that they can use for support. And so we have the saguaro cactus for Aries. And what's interesting about the saguaro cactus is that it only blooms every, let me make sure I tell you the right thing, every 50 years. After 50 years, it flowers.
Wow.
And after 100 years, it grows an arm. So it is, when this blooms, it's a big deal. And so the saguaro cactus reminds Aries to dissolve any disharmonious energy, because 12th house, you're closing it out. You're finishing up whatever lessons that you learned as you went through all 12 signs. And it magnifies purity of the heart. I feel like that's always what we're coming back to. And there's a willingness to be of service. So, you know, Aries, whatever you're finishing up and whatever you're going to start, to be of service is going to be a big focus for you. So, and this, you know, with the nodes in Aries and Libra, this feels even more significant because it's, you know, the saguaro cactus is a bit unusual in terms of its bloom cycle, and having the nodes in your sign is also something that only happens, what is it, every 18 years or so? So it's, you know, it takes a while for that to happen.
Yeah, and that's like you said, 50 years. That's a 50-year cycle of Chiron, which is in their first house, Aries as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And
Very
also,
interesting.
yeah, and also what was interesting about that flower was, well, I think that was it. I think that was it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
so much
it's
to say with Aries, but just that they're clearing up a karma. There's a purity there. They've cleared up a big. Oh, this is a big new chapter for Aries. Obviously, we
mhm.
were the message. So I think we've heard. There was something else I was going to say, but I forgot it. So
Maybe
anyway,
it'll come
yeah,
back.
it'll come back. All right, so now we're going to go to Taurus. So Taurus, you guys are going to have this big super duper conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus in your first house in April 20th. So I'll be very curious to see what happens to Taurus, the lives of Taurus, what changes for them. They're going to suddenly, every Taurus is suddenly going to turn into like a major punk rocker. I'm kidding, but Uranus is kind of the energy of the rebellious. All right. So you guys are going to have Taurans are going to have all these planets in their 11th house. So that's nice. That's a new moon in your 11th house. So new tribes, meeting new people, new groups of people, or a new internet group people, or a new website, or a new Instagram feed, or a new shall we say it just a new beginning. You do something different that you've never done on social media and it really works. It kicks in. And because now in the 11th house, you would have learned to be more self-accepting because you have Pisces there. So you're clearing karma about what people think of you in the whole sort of in the internet world and how you come across. And if you seem, because of it, there's some sort of fear about that or who you are or how you come across. And it's possible because Virgo is opposite this lunation that there's sort of imperfections that you're focused on. So anyway, in this new moon, there's going to be a breaking free of that, being Mars squares Uranus during this new moon. So you're going to break free and possibly step out and be much braver, more more visual, more just face in your feed kind of energy and accepting who you are. But a new beginning, you could meet new people through the internet tribes. You could meet a person on dating site, but the 11th house, it whatever does happen is long term. And it's very positive, though, that 11th house is lucky wins and gains. So an opportunity could come in, a sort of lucky opportunity comes in that initiates a new beginning in your life of some sort. What do you get?
All right. So we have the giant spider lily, and I'm just going to just share a few words that relate to this flower: celebration, joy, ease, simplicity, freedom. So a lot of what you talked about in terms of the feelings that what may arise here with the 11th house in Taurus for Taurus. And then the other aspect of this too is, when I think about your online presence, whether that's social media or your website or how you're engaging with a larger audience,
Mhm.
keeping it simple, especially in this time where things can become complex so fast,
Yeah.
feels like a big message. So whether you're doing this for business or pleasure and you're on social media, not getting caught up in some of the chatter, maybe just if you get on there and just keep it simple, whatever you're sharing, keep it simple, direct to the point. I feel like we're all bombarded with so much information. So it's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Don't go overboard. Just keep it
It's
simple.
funny how that first flower for Aries was like a one, it was a 12th house, which is all about being alone. And no, come in. No. It's all about being alone, and then the 12th house, they're isolated in that 12th house. And then you get the Taurus where it's in the 11th house, which is where all the people are.
All your friends. Yeah. Speaking of friends, Madelaine has a friend there. She's got a
Yes,
little audience.
my friend is here. I'm at her house. Yeah. All right. So, all right. So where are we now? Okay, let's
Gemini.
go to Gemini. Okay, Gemini, you guys are going to have this happening in your 10th house, a new beginning in your 10th house. So a new start in the career, or now the 10th house can sometimes be status, marriage status. But it's a new beginning, most likely in a career, a new opportunity comes in, a job promotion. Again, this is a maturity level you've achieved through a long, hard work. You will have grown in some way to handle this sort of a promotional situation? You're spiritually or higher consciousness enough to handle this position. You know, maybe it's like a job where you handle people and, you know, people resources or something, and you've become very sensitive. Anyway, so yeah, so basically a new beginning in your career, an upgrade, and I mean, really with Saturn there in your 10th house. So Saturn is restructuring your career, maturing you. It might be kind of tough because Saturn is a taskmaster, so it might be pressuring you to grow up. You don't grow up out of free will. You grow up out of being forced by the universe, by the world, you know, life. So Gemini are going through a lot of spiritual transformations in their work world where they're really maturing, and that maturity is enabling them to sort of go up the scale in their career. What do you get?
So we have the lilac, and the lilac tells Gemini, or reminds or encourages Gemini to be flexible and to be adaptable to changes. So you were talking about, I mean, in Gemini too, they're already kind of like that. You know, they will change their mind. You know, they're known to be wishy-washy, even though they're not really wishy-washy. It's just that they can see different perspectives. And so being able to really hone in on that and adapt quickly and flexibly to changes that may occur that they're not a part of. It's not them changing their mind. It's the outside world maybe changing their mind. And when it comes to your career, it's, you know, maybe for that big job promotion, you need to adapt to going into work earlier, or maybe staying a little bit later, or, you know, maybe you need to learn a new skill in order to rise in the ranks, whatever that may be. Lilac is there.
Interesting too, because that is the color of Jupiter. Jupiter rules this new moon, but also it is a mutable energy. So there could be that they have a rapid mind change around their career, and they change their mind. They want something better. They have clarity because of that Mercury on the Neptune. You have clarity around something, you know.
Awesome.
So yeah,
clarity is always good.
Yeah. Oh wait. Okay, so now we're going to Cancer.
Cancer.
So Pisces over your 9th house. Wow, well, that's me. So something new, a new belief, a new perspective, a new spiritual perspective, or you could decide to learn something or go learn, like I was telling you, I'm studying the fixed stars and studying all these other constellations and things. So you might be taking a new course. You might sign up for a new course in something that's very spiritual that you weren't evolved enough in your craft to understand, or something. Like I also am wanting to learn about nakshatras. So there's like, now I really understand some sort of fundamental things about nakshatras that I can do it. So we're looking at like growth in your learning or teaching. You have a breakthrough, or you see how to do something you've been working on. Remember, this is Saturn. This is areas where we've put in work. So we're going to bear a new beginning is shall we say, contingent on your growth the maturation and growth you've done. So there's new beginnings in an area that you've been struggling and working hard in and trying to, it could be from a very long time. It could be 30 years with Saturn there. It could be 15 years. But anyway, so we're seeing some sort of ready maturation, ability to start to teach something now. Maybe you've graduated, you can now start teaching, or you can now start traveling, working and traveling, or teaching and traveling, or you become a soul coach. You start a new career as an astrologer. You start classes as an astrologer. All of that.
Which Madelaine offers, if anyone is interested in some things about astrology. So for Cancer, you have the nectarine blossom as your flower support. And the nectarine blossom, what I find interesting is that it activates sweetness. And Cancer tends to be underneath their hard, crabby shell, they are sweet. You know, they're like these really soft-hearted, really nurturing, kind of motherly sort of people. And the message is you're among friends. And I was feeling into the ninth house and how you were describing it, Madelaine, and what's maybe coming up for cancers, cancerians. I don't know how you would say that. What struck me was about the higher learning to be of service, higher learning to really activate a soul mission. I think you said something about that too. There's this like feeling within them, a desire to be of service, and this might be the gateway to do that, and to be open to whatever higher wisdom wants to come through, and whatever inspiration or desire you have to learn something new, whether it's astrology or it's long distance travel to experience something new, whatever that might be. Pay attention and follow that, because it may be leading you somewhere that's really important for this next chapter of your life. So the
Yeah.
green blossom.
Interesting. Yes. All right. Now to Leo
Yes,
ascendant.
ma'am.
Yes. Wow. All of this is in your eighth house. So new beginnings, perhaps relationships, a new passionate sexual relationship could happen. We'll see what else. Now, you the eighth house, new moons, they don't normally have, it's not normally, it could be a death and rebirth, there could be a death of some sort. But I don't know if new moons is more of a full moon energy, but that's a possibility that you have to release somebody, then you have an inheritance. Or there's a new moon, you decide to take out a loan and second on a piece of property in order to invest on something else. Or in order to, you decide, or a new beginning in investment, you decide to start investing. Or you are, shall we say, you get over a big fear about money, you relax, you let go about a fear about money, and you start having a new way of living with money where you're not so fearful. Perhaps you break through a fear, because we've got that Mars squaring Uranus, so there's sudden breakthrough of fear about money, you release and you emancipate yourself. So let me look again here. So what else? Eighth house, joint resources, joint financing. You could join your resources, a new project with your partner, significant other, where you put your money together and invest in maybe a project. What else would be a beginning eighth house thing that I normally see? A debt, maybe a new way to pay off a debt comes in. All right. I think I've covered all those.
Well, what's interesting was
remember, I sort of didn't add the spiritual quality about it all. There's a certain amount of faith now that you have. Perhaps you go into debt, but remember, there's a spiritual evolution here. So there's overcoming a big fear about some sort of financial limitations and breaking through it and doing it anyway and liberating yourself financially, I would say.
Well, this card here, the peony, really does chime into what you're saying about abundance and magnetizing abundance, attracting abundance to you. It also has an energy of gratitude and appreciation. So as you are attracting this abundance to you and magnetizing it to you, there's a level of gratitude and appreciation for what you are receiving, and being in that state to really continue that flow, and maybe giving back too, with the eighth house, that's money coming to you, maybe money moving away from you, but it's a flow, it's a flow of energy. It's also eighth house. If you think about the eighth house, it's like an infinity on the side. So it's that flowing, going away from you, coming back to you, going away from you, coming back to you. But you're in the center. There's always going to be what you need provided for you. It just may not be in the timeline that you want or how it shows up. But just to remember that you have everything you need, and that the more you're in gratitude and appreciation, the more you're putting out, the more will come back to you. So the peony,
that's
such a pretty flower.
Yeah, and that has such a high vibration to it too. That card, it's very, because there's that pink is sort of an Aries energy as well. Anyway, that
feels good.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So now let's go to
Virgo.
Virgo. So you're going to have this new moon opposition in your seventh house. So you may be letting go of a relationship. Also, don't forget, we've got that South Node Libra trining. So you may suddenly release a relationship. You may become spiritually, you may wake up and become aware of who your spiritual true counterpart is. You may all of a sudden hear from your true spiritual counterpart, relationship, a new relationship absolutely could begin. Again, this is very spiritual, very higher consciousness, clearing the karmic and going towards the more spiritually, the one that you have that centers in the heart, that is faith, that is not based in short-term gratification or security based. And so we're getting this new beginning or you in your relationship, you begin a new beginning, a new collaboration. Musicians have planets in their seventh house. They meet a new band member, sometimes on a new moon in your seventh house. You can meet new business associates. And again, maybe it's you've grown up spiritually to tackle this new beginning. What else should we go through here? Collaboratives, a new beginning in collaborative ventures, business, because the seventh house can be business dealings. Go ahead.
Red bird of paradise. And I love this red, we got the red color that reminds me a bit of Aries. The message here has to do with focus. What are you avoiding? What are you not seeing? And so when it comes to Virgo, maybe with relationships or contractual sorts of agreements, really pay attention or recognize when maybe you know something deep down, like you really, really know it. This Pisces energy coming in is going to open you up to the spiritual perspective and recognize, oh, this doesn't feel good to me. This isn't aligned with me. And so maybe making some tough choices when it comes to maybe ending a relationship or changing a relationship. It's this energy of now it's time to get it done. Focus and get it done. So
yep.
The red
might be a little hard for Virgo. Might be a little tough there.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be
better in the long. Yeah.
Exactly. And this might be the time where they are able to see it and feel it, and then have the fire maybe with that Aries.
Well, that trine to the South Node, I think it's going to be sudden. People are just going to release things. It's very interesting because it looks very easy for people to do.
Yeah, I mean, I liked even on the chart you showed earlier, how there was an opening, like like, I think you described it as a doorway, just walk through.
Yep.
Walk through.
There's going to be an open door somewhere for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Libra.
Where are we now? Libra.
Libra.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So you guys are going to have the eclipse in your first house. You've got the South Node in your first house. And so with this new moon in your sixth house, brand new beginnings involving work, day-to-day beginnings, maybe a new health routine, maybe new spirit. Oh, very spiritual, by the way. So yes, a very new spiritual practice. Or you've really released a habit or an addiction, and you've made some real spiritual progress and higher consciousness. You become very aware of why you have an addiction, and then you heal from it. You know that you're doing it out of fear, and now you have faith around this fear that's been causing you or driving it. Then so it changes your day to day. Let's say you quit gluten. It changes your life. You don't eat at the same restaurants, or so a whole new beginning in day to day, the way you live on a day to day. And it could also involve work. It could be a new beginning with you could hire a new employee, and you're more evolved now, and you see how you've been employing people for one reason, because you want them to work quickly, and now you want someone who's more spiritually compatible or more sensitive or nice. Pisces is very nice energy. So then you decide, you change your mind about what kind of employees you hire. But you have an awakening and a spiritual realization about your health and about how maybe you haven't been taking care of yourself, because that sixth house is karma playing out there. So you've not done good to you. And so now you realize that. And so you start doing good to you in some way.
I love what you say are saying about that. And this card too, the pink lotus, I feel like is a great reminder of that. And I can
Okay.
speak from personal experience when it comes to health. It's, you go to the doctor, you go to this practitioner, you go to this person, that person, everyone's telling you different things. You're trying to figure out what to do. You're following one person, but then somebody else tells you something different. So you jump off the ship and you go to a different one. And this pink lotus is a reminder, whether it's with your health or your work, your day-to-day life, that you have the wisdom within you already. So look within yourself. And it will, this energy of this moon and this new moon in Pisces, it's very spiritual. So this flower actually connects with that spiritual energy of insight and understanding. So you will be supported. Again, we have the energy of this moon. So if you're looking for a little further support, the pink lotus, whether you purchase an elixir or a spray or a mist or anything, or if you just take a screenshot of this, call in the consciousness, call in the spirit of the plant to support you. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah,
magical.
because the sixth house is a challenging house for a new moon. It can be. It can be that you come across a health issue that wakes you up to it,
Mhm, mhm.
like we go into terrible inflammation. And so that's why I quit gluten, because my legs were so inflamed one day. I was like, why are my legs in so much pain? And I said, well, I'm just going to try. It was on a new moon in my sixth house. I'm just going to try it out. Maybe I'm going to quit gluten just for a week and see what happens. I couldn't believe it. I was my body. I mean, I'm just a whole different experience. So I
Yeah,
don't. I always thought the gluten thing was over the top or silly. But anyway, so
that's
yes.
true. So, I mean, that's it. I mean, that's a prime example, Madelaine, of trusting your instinct. It's not like you just felt like, this
Yeah.
might be supported. It doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah.
And you found a solution. So people just trusting yourself. Now, I'm not condoning everyone becoming their own doctor, going online and doing it that way. I'm saying, definitely get the professional support and the help. But when you've got all these different ideas being thrown at you, trust your own self to know what
Yeah.
to try.
Yeah,
And
because I mean, if you're experiencing inflammation, you can just sort of experiment and find different foods that you don't have that experience with. And you
yeah,
you can find it too. It's great
yeah,
because
absolutely.
a lot of people don't know that they're living with a lot of inflammation. Kind of get used to it.
Absolutely.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
Scorpio,
Scorpio,
Scorpio
yes.
in your fifth house, new moon, nice in your fifth house. So a new friend, a new creative project, you could get pregnant. Um, Again, this is going to be you could start performing, because a lot of planets in the fifth house, you could be performing on a stage, singing, dancing, but something creative. Neptune is there too, so you might be feeling it quite a lot, that energy. But with the fifth house, a new beginning is a new creative project, and friends that you meet during a new moon in Pisces with Saturn there could be very long-term soulmate type friends. Even though the fifth house is a very superficial type house, joy, fun, play, new beginnings. It's a fun energy though for Scorpio. Um, this is a spiritual, so you're going to let go of karmic friendships that were just friends for the sake of friends because it was fun, but they maybe weren't really your friends. Now you release, and now you take on soulmate type friendships that can just be friends, or a friendship turns into a soulmate relationship, long-term relationship, because you've grown up spiritually. You've released karmic barriers between you and your true love. So you may go into union with a true person, true partnership.
So Scorpio, uh, what I find interesting about what you said too is about it's an opportunity to potentially play big, have the confidence to maybe get on a stage where you didn't feel that so much so far, and Scorpios are kind of funny that way. They really don't want to be the center of attention like a Leo, for instance. But there's a lot that they have to share. There's a lot that they have to offer. But they may tuck it away a little bit. So the mountain laurel for
Oh,
Scorpio
that's beautiful.
is a reminder to believe in yourself, to have that confidence. It tells you to play big. it activates comfort in that way, being confident and comfortable. And the message is let it all hang out. And that just makes me laugh, because as a Scorpio ascendant, I don't really want to do that so much, because that creates issues, problems, all sorts of things.
Very fifth house, letting it all, letting it play, letting have joy, play, fun. Very fifth house.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it feels very resonant with the energy of this moon and this period of time. And again, I feel like it's the spiritual angle to it all too, of not getting caught up in the mundane, not getting caught up in the physical part of life as much. It's valid, worth consideration, of course, but I feel like this Pisces moon is really encouraging us to develop a stronger spiritual connection and practice that will guide us and lead us into this new astrological year. So
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think so. This could be really fun for Scorpio, because this is a new moon where you're very yin, you're very connected, so you'd be very moved by download spirit, get inspiration for creativity.
yes.
Very inspiring new moon for Scorpio. Exciting. So for Sagittarius, you guys have this in your fourth house. So there's a new living situation. Yay, my son could really use that. So so Sagittarius, most likely a new beginning in a family. Maybe you co-live with somebody, but you've now matured to some level that you can maybe financially afford a new place. You've got Saturn there in your fourth house. So your whole living life for the next till Saturn's out of there, which is another year and a half, or might be 2 years, restructuring your living situation and becoming more mature and responsible in your home living situation. Let's say you're a teenager and you have Saturn in your fourth, you probably take on a lot of family projects and become very helpful at home, but work hard, or you're forced to from your dad. But so Sagittarians are very much waking up and realizing where their spiritual home is, where they want to live, where their soul wants to live. There's a new beginning there, a new beginning in a living situation. Family, what else could we be looking at? You start working at home as well. That's often a new moon in the fourth house, can be starting a project on your home. And you've suddenly had clarity and you want it more zen, more spiritual, more light, something like that. Go ahead.
All right. So we have the squash blossom for Sagittarius, and the message is liberation. So when you're talking about the fourth house, it's liberation from your living situation. It can also be living arrangement, or liberation from lineage, like those karmic patterns, attachments, karmic relationships that relate to family, perhaps, and finding that way of freedom within those. It also there's a feeling of freedom in the body. So again, I feel like that could connect back to ancestral wounding, some lineage moving through that. It could also be connected to the place where you live, where in the place where you live, you don't feel like you can be free to be who you are. You don't feel like there's that sense of liberation in your physical space or your physical body. So squash blossom for Sag. And I also love that it's that orange of creativity and power.
Very Sagittarius. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree, that fire energy. Yes. And I do see that liberating energy in that, which is so Mars square. And I do know a Pisces rising Sagittarius sun and moon, my son, who is needing to liberate from a certain living situation. So, and you know what? An opportunity can come in. Like somebody could say, hey, I need a roommate. Do you want to share an apartment with us, or me? That kind of an opportunity. Go up. All righty. Now we are moving along for Capricorn. Okay, Capricorn, third house, new moon, a new writing project, spiritual, or you start a website, you start writing about what you think about spirituality. Maybe let's think what else. You become more conscious, so you redo your website. You realize you've matured in some way and you want to change your website, so you do a new beginning there. You could have new jobs, a new commute. You get a new situation somewhere else because something else is hitting in your chart, so you now have to commute. A new car, you could get a new car. And you've evolved enough to know that this is the right car for you. It fits you better, your soul. Or um what else? Third house, communication, new communication with, it could be, you could get into a conflict with a sibling or a neighbor, and you have to let go and you have to talk it out. So there's new beginning and communicating with, because new moons can bring something you have to release. So you may have to like release something involving the neighbors or people that are usually around you, and you let go and you communicate. Could be an outburst communication. I'm thinking of somebody else I know that is Sagittarius in a living situation. I'm sorry, not Sagittarius, they're Capricorn rising, and this is happening in their third house, and there could be an anger outburst. I would warn them that they might, because they have a propensity for anger outbursts. It could be like this outburst, but it grows everybody up. People grow up around this issue. Go ahead, Amalia.
So we have the Arctic lupine for Capricorn. And what I find interesting about this is it's not totally directly related to what's happening with Capricorn with this moon cycle specifically. It feels like it's a reminder of what they've been through for the past couple of years, 18 months or so. It's been tough for Capricorns, and they've had these little moments and glimmers of what's to come and a little bit of peace, and okay, they can see the openings and they feel a little bit better about things, but it's still been a bit rocky. And so this card activates the message that you're supported. It activates deep peace. It brings a sense of calm and comfort and peacefulness. And I know a number of Capricorns where that energy would be very helpful right now.
Yeah.
It's also a sense of safety and protection, and it gives them effortless strength to face life's challenges. And that's not to say that you're going to have a whole bunch of challenges. It's just to say that maybe you're still dealing with some, and that now it's not going to feel quite as hard. So to me, this just feels like more of a message of everything is okay. You are supported. What you need is with you. More is coming. Just stay the course. Everything is all right. So that's the overarching message for
Capricorn. Good for Capricorn.
Yeah.
They've been through so much with Pluto in their first house. So I think they've cleared a lot of karma. And I think that this hopefully is an easy new moon for Capricorn.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's go with Aquarius. Well, by the way, Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, so they're going to feel this new moon because Saturn is in there. So they're ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is transiting their third house. So, that's quite a powerful new moon for them. So now we have Aquarius, also ruled by Saturn. So this new moon is hitting their second house. So there's a new beginning in money, a new beginning, a new financial start in some kind of a financial project, financial initiative. Again, this is very spiritually based. There's some sort of new consciousness around this. There's an awakening. There's a shift in opinion or perspective around something, around making money. It could just be that you now really feel like you can make money with something that's deep in your soul, that is spiritually fulfilling for you. Or you because it's very spiritual to be aware of them, to know your own talents. Second house can be talents. You suddenly realize you have a spiritual gift or a singing talent, musical talent, because Pisces is so musical, that you decide to initiate expressing your talent, your arts, your gifts. But it can also be a new job, literally a new income job, a way of earning money. But again, it is aligning with your new consciousness of some sort, liberating again. The Mars and the Uranus square is going to liberate everybody on some level. And Uranus is Aquarius ruling planet, so there's a liberating element to this. What else can we see here? Neptune in your second house, it's creative. This is a very creative new moon for because the second house is a lot of people with planets in their second house have a lot of talents and gifts, and they make money off of it. They can make things with their hands. So if a new moon in your second house, it'll almost be a new thing you make, you do, you start, you make money from it. Go ahead, Amalia, what do you got?
We have banana yucca, and I know when the light's on it like that, you can't really see it very well. Let me tip it a little. So I know it's a little bit of an odd angle, but the message here is to uncover your secret talents and activate the hidden potential that lies within you. So giving yourself the opportunity to discover your purpose, to access your inner power. And this could come through a spiritual channel. You know, we have this Pisces energy right now. And that during this period of time, there might be some unexpected leaps and bounds in your progress when it comes to maybe some projects. That could relate to your financial abundance. That could relate to second house, material possessions, money, that sort of thing. So the banana yucca for Aquarius feels pretty darn good. Feels pretty darn.
Well, and also the second house is how you value yourself. So maybe Aquarians are waking up to a talent they have, and they value themselves more, and they're like, they want to shine it more, like that light, come out and be who they are, and what they possess, gifts or talent that they possess. They believe, they're seeing that they need to value. Sometimes a new moon in your second house can be hard that way, because you see where you haven't been valuing yourself.
Uh-huh.
Painful. But then you grow up and you start valuing yourself there. So it's painful, but it's good in outcome in the end.
Yeah, I love that interpretation too about valuing yourself too. It's not just about the financial part of it, even though that's great.
Yeah.
It's about valuing yourself first and foremost, and then the rest will come.
I've seen new moons, full moons really reveal often in your second house where you are not valuing yourself. It is like a slap in the face, can be. All right.
Good times. Okay. So we're rounding it out here with Pisces.
Great new moon for Pisces. Beautiful. There's going to be Pisces on the whole are absolutely maturing. Things are changing very big for Pisces. They've got Saturn in their first house. They're growing up on some level. They're becoming more responsible. They have to take on more responsibilities. I know Pisces rising who is sort of becoming more of backstage in their business and handing it over to their son, but they're taking more of a overview position of it all. What else? You could be restructuring your career, your identity. Your first house is your identity. Oh, a lot of times with Saturn in your first house, you're working out. You're working hard, very nose to the grindstone. Now it's in the energy of course, the fish, Pisces. So it's very soul aligning for Pisces. It's Pisces are waking up, maturing. It's hard for Pisces. This isn't easy. They have to pull up their bootstraps. They have to work hard, something that Pisces aren't great at. They've got to, it's almost like reality check. And so this is a new moon where you're handling reality now. It's Earth to Pisces, it's like this is a very practical new beginning. This is even though it's opposing Virgo, but it's like, for instance, like, for instance, my son is getting hopefully a very mature, responsible job in a music conservatory. I don't want to jinx it, but there's a good chance. Now that's so mature, that's so Saturn, that's so new moon Pisces in his first house, where he is, you're seeing differently, you're seeing with more respect, you're given more, shall we say, notoriety, Saturn, more prestige, you're known more. New beginning. You could become boss. You could even elevate to the position of being boss, a new moon here. But there's a certain amount of confidence. You've grown up, you've seen, you've learned a lot, you have much more consciousness, you're more responsible. Like, for instance, hate to use my son as an example, but he's very higher consciousness right now. He's like making sure everybody, my dad is looking after his cat, so he's making sure my dad has everything he needs. He's being very conscious about it. So
That's really sweet.
I know. So anyway, so this new moon for Pisces is a big one. Basically you are definitely ending a chapter in your life where you are clearing a lot of lower self-esteem type energies, because that's the karma of the Pisces, is they don't really believe in themselves. So it's like they're coming around now, a newer level where they believe, they're not negative, they're not they believe in themselves more. There's more confidence. So they're going to be more successful. And with Saturn there, they're having to do it. It's not a choice.
Well, I feel like this flower
Yeah.
is so perfect for them. The jade succulent, and the message is go for it. Pretty much what you were saying. It's and this flower really supports them having the clarity of what they want. So I think that's one of the things, is like, what do you actually want to go for? What are you excited about? What are you passionate about? What lights you up? So having clarity on that, and there's an energy of bringing something that's inside of you out to share with the world in some way. I know you've talked about your son who's a musician, like a song that might be in him that he wants to bring out into the light to share with the world. It also is an expansion of chi, life force energy. So they may feel more revitalized and ready to go and ready to do something new and different, where before they maybe felt like a little more, bringing it in. And there's going to be some of that in order to have the clarity of what you want. But then again, setting yourself up for that Aries energy to take some action, to take that fire out.
Yeah, that really aligns with the Neptune and Mercury, which is squaring my sun. So that's why my brain just goes. And Mercury conjoining for Pisces in this new moon is quite significant. There is going to be a bunch of clarity coming through for them. I think they're going to have a lot of aha. I think a lot of people will, because that's happening in the same energy,
Yeah.
That Neptune is not that far from this new moon. So everyone's going to be getting these spiritual awakenings, these ahas, these clarity, and then ready for that Aries energy of new beginnings and action, which everyone should be doing right now, is sleeping and resting and taking it easy.
Oh, it's a very rainy day here in South Florida. So it's been, rain shower, then maybe a little hint of sun, and then rain again. And while we were doing this last little bit of the cosmic chat, it was just pouring. Really? You probably could see where it got really dark for a while. It's a little bit brighter now, but that's perfect.
Yeah, Mercury. Some astrologers think Mercury is the weather, and we're at the end degree of Pisces. It's the most, that's why we're getting so much rain and water everywhere. It's at the end degree Gandanta point, they say in Vedic, where it's like really emotional, really watery and rainy. That's interesting.
And here we are. Yeah, here we are. So yeah, so I feel like overall, I think this Pisces new moon will be transformational in terms of completions, and allow us to step through that doorway into something brand new coming up here in this Aries moon cycle at the beginning of next month. But we still have this one to go through, and the beginning of eclipse season that will begin on March 25th.
After this, we have the big Aries Libra eclipse, 5 degrees Libra, March 25th. And then we have the Aries eclipse, 8th. And then we have the big Jupiter Uranus conjoining. So even though it's not an eclipse, it's the Uranian surprise energy, sort of ecliptical in a way. It's got that kind of out of the blue energy. So yes, this is the calm before the storm. So enjoy the calm, quiet energies of Pisces before they all move out into Aries.
Oh, yeah. So, and please do like, share, comment, subscribe. If you're on Madelaine's channel, pop over to mine. If you're on mine, pop over to Madelaine's. It means a lot to us, and it helps us continue with our work and getting the message out to folks. If you're looking for any astrological tarot support or learning some new things, Madelaine has a number of different offerings, and her information is below. You can learn about that and reach out to her. And then I'm going to be starting a couple of new projects coming up here. I'm not sharing quite yet. They're still in the works.
Exciting.
But my book, We to Me, about disentangling from a marriage, relationship, whatever that is, infidelity being part of the story, and how you navigate that. I'll be sharing a lot more about that.
Oh,
So
what a
follow
good
me
time to
here.
release. Sorry to interrupt. Sorry, Molly, but
Yeah,
what
well, just follow me here and on social, because I'll be sharing more about that too. So if you're in a relationship quandary, there'll be some supportive resources for you. And what were you going to say, Madelaine?
well, I mean, what a great time to write that book when you have the South Node in Libra and everybody's ending relationships. A lot of
Well, the book is
it's almost
done.
like you
It's been done,
astrologically
but
lined up to write that book during Libra South Node. That's funny.
yeah. Well, it's written. It's just now editing and getting the final push to get it out there, which has been, it's like for anyone who's been in labor, it's like you've been in labor for so long that you're to the point where you're just like you're exhausted, and you're just like, whatever you need to do to have this be done, just do it. I'm kind of at that point of
Mm.
let's just I'm going to do what I need to do to get this done, because it's so important that it's out to be shared. And
Right. Well, it's good timing because there's going to be a lot of people wanting to read it because a lot of people are ending relationships with that South Node. So you have very good timing.
fabulous, fabulous, because you know what, any of these relationship endings are for the highest and best good of everyone involved, even if it doesn't feel like it. And that just opens you up to something new and magnificent. So and I can say that with certainty. So
Yeah,
anyway,
that's
thanks
great.
for joining us. Thanks for being here with us. We appreciate you all, and we will see you here in a couple of weeks with the full moon in Virgo, right?
Uh, no, we have the Libra
No.
eclipse. March. The next thing is the Libra eclipse.
Oh, Libra. Well,
Yeah.
Libra. Yes, 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 yes. We
It's
already had the
the
Virgo thing. Yes.
lunar, it's the lunar eclipse, Libra, 5 degrees.
Yes. Yes, you're absolutely right. We already had the Virgo one. So we are
Yeah.
ready for that eclipse season. All right, folks, we'll see you soon. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate you. Bye.
Bye.